Hey everybody, happy Monday. It's Josh Ellsworth with Stalls coming live to you on Facebook and YouTube and everywhere to do some heat printing projects. So hopefully you had a great holiday weekend, got to relax, spend some time with family and friends. I'm excited to jump back into things personally, recharged, ready to go. And we're going to go through a pretty cool project, I think. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about printing hats in general. But if you don't have a market right now where you've been able to invest in the Hotronix 360 IQ hat heat press, or maybe you're on the waiting list, you'll learn some things today. But I'm also going to talk about some other applications as well with the product we have called FlexStyle. And I'll show you how to customize some drinkware with a FlexStyle emblem and give you some other ideas. So there'll be a little bit of something for everybody today. And we're actually going to go through a profit scenario on an actual job, which I think is exciting. It's something that we had our entire sales team do over the past week. So I know some of them are watching. We've been really talking about the opportunity for profit in the category of headwear. Because while we've sold hat presses for a number of years and we have lots of customers doing some great things with hat presses, we're in a whole nother ball game now with how you're able to apply dimensional logos onto hats, and where not only the hat press technology has come, but where the dimensional logo technology for heat transfer has come. And so I think understanding that profit equation and how you can add headwear to your business as a revenue center is really cool. So we're excited to welcome everybody today. I'm especially excited to welcome Tim to the show today because Tim has furnished our lesson for today. So appreciate you joining live, Tim. We're actually going to, so Tim sent me 14 hats. We had a conversation on Facebook and asked if I could press this job live on air and also share some of the profit detail, and he was comfortable with that. So we want to thank Tim for that. We'll all get to learn today, and also I'll be able to complete an order for him while he waits on his 360 IQ. So I call that a win-win. And so let's show you the finished product that we're going to come out with. So if you follow our Heat Press for Profit Facebook group, you've seen this logo before. This is a FlexStyle dimensional logo. You can see the texture and style to it. So a nice alternative to embroidery. Some companies market it as liquid embroidery. It's really popular right now for us. We've had this product out for about 1.5 years, and it's going like wildfire, not only for headwear, which is the primary use today, but for hard goods. So one of the photos that Tim had shared on our Facebook group was this same logo in a pressure sensitive style, meaning a sticker style. And so when you look at, I don't have that exact logo, but here's another logo I did for our sales meeting last year when we were able to all meet together as a big group. And you can see it has a 3M adhesive on the back. And so you can actually order this FlexStyle. It's sticky on the back in a pressure sensitive style. And so Tim had stuck that to a batting helmet for baseball or softball, little league, something like that. And the logo looked awesome. So the cool thing about FlexStyle, if I can talk about that for a second, you can get dimensional results, heat applied to any fabric item, has to be applied with a heat press to the fabric items, or you can get the pressure sensitive style for hard goods. Now, when we are creating this logo for you, and we make these at stalls.com where you can upload your artwork into our artwork uploader, when we're creating these for you, you pay a setup fee. So there's a setup fee in this because we give you a nice virtual rendering of all the texture in the design. You can see some texture there and exactly what the logo is going to look like when it's completed. And there's all sorts of different styles and different textures. Here's another one we did for a Shirt Lab event. And so there's a lot of, you're going to want to see a visual of this and show your customer. And so you've paid $52 to get your logo set up. And the cool thing is you set up the logo. Once it's set up, it stays on file with us. You pay the $52, and then you can order that logo in heat applied versions or pressure sensitive sticker decal versions as well from the same $52 setup. Now, there is a minimum of 25 pieces. I would say this starts to become profitable around 50 pieces, depending on your markup in the job. So I would try to get to 50 pieces of each style. But the nice thing is this is a small logo technology. So this can go to a cell phone case, a laptop, a notebook, drinkware, a batting helmet. If it's heat applied, it can go to a hat, left chest on a polo, a bag. There's a ton of different applications for these size of logos. So think about your design size when you're paying that setup, because if you change the design size, you have to pay another setup fee, and we don't want to get into that. So I'm anxious. We've showed the looks here. I'm anxious to hear anybody else that has tried the FlexStyle before. Feel free to shout out that you've watched it before. While we're doing that, I want to say hi to some folks here. So good to see you, Ken from Alabama. We have Maria watching from Dallas. Good to see our friends from the UK. Target is watching us today from target.com. So if you're over in the UK, you can visit targettransfers.com, and they're a great place to buy a lot of these products. Good to see you, Donnie from Mississippi. Also, Flex, hey, I've checked out some of your videos on the YouTube channel. You need to review FlexStyle. We'll get you some samples. So thanks for joining us live here today, Flex. And we have Jenna on that's helping to answer questions over in our Facebook group. So if you have questions, and we have also people helping on YouTube, etc. So I know there's a lot of people watching right now. So appreciate all of you joining. So let's get to printing some things. So let me start off. Let's see, where do we want to start? And I'm also going to talk about this hat press for pressing heat transfer vinyl today, because I got a private message over the weekend that said, hey, a lot of people are having questions. Can that hat press do heat transfer vinyl? The answer is yes. There are some compatible products. We're going to press one together and show you the settings for that. But let's come up close and take a look at this 360 IQ hat press. So I have a nice fancy cart that I can move you close on because I'm in the studio here today by myself. This is the 360 IQ. So first off, the basics. If you've not seen any of our videos for a while, it heats from the top like a normal hat press, but it also has a dual silicone platen that heats from the bottom. So this is a soft landing surface. This platen fits most hats out there. I don't want to say all, because there are some youth hats or some baby hats, some hats that are challenging on this. But even if they're high crown, low profile, with the right loading technique, which I'll teach you today, you're able to do most adult hats. I've tackled every one that I've personally seen. And so we can help you with loading techniques if you're having a hard time with that. So today, we have it set for 280 degrees on top. This is our IQ control board. And so it's a touch screen. It has top heat and bottom heat. So we have 280 on top and we have 320 degrees on bottom. I find I'm using that recipe for every application that I've seen so far. I'm sure that at some point you'll need to adjust it, but I've been able to do every style of application, from FlexStyle to heat transfer vinyl to UltraColor soft, which was formerly stretch litho matte, to leather patches, 3D embroidered emblems, all of that at these settings with just adjusting my time. And I usually like a firm pressure on this, because more pressure is going to get good contact, especially on a 6-panel cap, which means there's a seam in the center like this one that we need to go over top of the seam. So let's start with the job we're going to do today. This is 14 hats. It is a Nike hat that Tim sent me to press. And I'll talk about some of the financial factors of it after we talk through the how-to. So first step, flip the sweatband out, especially where you're able to. A little thicker sweatband here, so we want to have that flipped out. I always like to grab it at the two corners. So that was taught to me as an easy way to load the hat, so you're not jamming it on there. And you're going to bring it around the side, okay? And you're just going to pull it forward. That helps you get a nice flat load. Now, this has a hold-down device on the side. So let's take a closer look here. This has the hold-down device on the side that flips and locks the hat into place. So after I load it, I like to just make sure I have it flush, and then I flip this down, and that will hold the hat firmly in place. And so let me see if I can get you a view of the actual pressing surface. It may be tough here today. The view is important, so let me take a time here to get you a good view today. That's probably a better view. We'll turn it sideways so you can at least see the placement. After you lock that hold down device down on the right hand side of the machine, then sometimes you'll have a little bit of a gap here, right? Especially on low profile caps. I'm not really having it here because this is a high crown cap. It does have a structure to it. So it has what's called a fused buckram. Basically means it's structured. These ones are the tough ones. They're usually the ones that want to crease and have those issues. And so this press solves that. Once you load that hat on, just going to make sure I have it flat into place. So I like to pull down a little bit here, make sure it's nice and flush, run my hands down it to make sure I have good contact. And there's no preheating with this. Once you have it loaded, you're able to just grab your logo. So this is our FlexStyle logo. They come to you just like this when you order them. It has a highly durable heat activated adhesive on the back. It has a clear carrier sheet, and then it has the logo. So I'm going to position that down. So this is a real job. So I'm going to take my time with making sure I have it straight. for Tim here. And so he sent me a photo of one that was embroidered. And so I have a nice placement mark here. So I have the vertical line coming down, which comes off of the right side of that star. And it runs all the way down to where this edge of the N is just over the center seam. And so that gives me a point of reference. So every hat then, I like to kind of see that in my design. I can place it in the correct spot. And so I'm going to go ahead and position it down. That makes me get it at the right angle. It's about a 1/2 inch up on the hat. And then I like to hold it down for just a second, okay? Because otherwise your logo is going to kind of wobble on top of the hat because it is a curved surface. But by holding it down a second, I get nice contact. So if we can bring you over top here, see, it's really nice contact. It's not wobbling at all. The adhesive is temporarily just melted to hold it flush against the hat. Now, when you're pressing dimensional logos, you definitely want to use these pads. I'm using the thin pad, which comes with the machine. I'm going to cover it. And then this particular application for FlexStyle, I'm going to complete it 30 seconds. So I'm just going to lock the machine down into place. This does have an automatic opening. So it's going to count down the 30 seconds and it's going to open here. Oh, still got 19 more seconds. So, and this isn't a sales technique. This is a profit and production technique. I'm going to show you how you're going to make and pay off this hat press in just maybe 5 or 6 jobs. But if you have one operator and you're really making this a part of your business, if you have one hat press, it just makes sense to have 2. And the reason why is that 30-second dwell time, I can be getting the next hat loaded, ready, and be able to operate 2 machines and get a lot more output. So after it opens, I'm going to unlock the hold down device. You hear that click? Just remove the hat before I peel the backing. And then we'll come up close here. I'm just going to let it cool for a second. And then I remove the backing. And that's it. It's crazy how easy it is. It's too easy, honestly. And that's it. It's completed, right? So you get no creasing, no scorching. You get a perfect application every time. You get something that's on there that's not going to be able to be peeled away. It's very durable on these hats. So I'm going to press just a couple more while I'm talking about the profit, and then I'll finish the rest of them off air, just so you don't have to watch me press all 14 hats. But what I like to say is, one thing we want to be thinking about when we're calculating our cost to make something is the time it makes to produce. And this is a universal concept, but what I find is that most apparel decorators don't calculate their labor into the equation. And even though it's very quick and very easy, it's very important that you calculate your labor into the equation. And the reason why is I always say you can start a heat press business with one person, but if you want to scale a heat press business, typically you're going to need more than one person in the business. And one of the easiest jobs in a heat pressing business is actually placing and applying the logo. If you can bear to let it go and trust somebody to get it on there straight and do it right, yes, it is one of the most risky jobs, but you want to make sure that you're paying yourself, because if you want to replace yourself, you have to have that rate established in your cost structure. Okay, so I like to say the heat press operator, from all the surveys we've done on our cost calculators, around $12 an hour seems to be the market rate across the market for a heat press operator. So at $12 an hour, basically you want to factor that in. And so let's say we can get our complete job, which in this case is only 14 hats, done in a half hour. It's going to cost me about $6 in labor, right? And that's going to be spread across the 14 hats to come up with my calculation. So somewhere around, I usually say 25 to 50 cents in labor to heat apply an item, depending on your rates. Very nice, very easy, very clean. So it's simple, but it's something that you can easily delegate, especially if your skill set tends to focus more on sales and marketing. It's one of those places that you can free yourself up. And so working on a book, I think I've said that before, but one of the concepts in that book is how easy it is to start and scale a heat printing business because it doesn't really require skilled labor. You do have to have research on sourcing the products, buying the right product, but being able to hire for it, train for it with not skilled labor. So regardless of the job market, a heat printing business is one that's very easy to scale in. And I love that about it. So let's press one more hat together. You can see if your hat press wants to lock down and catch the bill on your hat when it's loaded, all you need to do is pull that forward slightly. And when you lock it down, you'll still get good contact, good distance. It's just some of these bills are so straight, they're actually almost seem to be curving up into the hat. So sometimes you just need to pull that bill slightly down before you lock down. So yeah, so let's see, we have some questions coming in here. Yeah, you can find the silicone pads, the white cover pads are sold on our website as well. And so if you want to try that with your standard hat press, you're welcome to do that. You may be able to get that to work with heat transfer vinyl, I would say. Pretty easy, especially a low temp product like our Ultra Weed that applies at 260 degrees. But if you want to do dimensional logos and get to the melting point of the adhesive, you're really going to need to heat it from underneath. And so whether you want to press it to hats like we've done here, completed 4 of the hats out of the 14. I'll do the rest off air so you don't have to watch and press everything. Whether you want to do hats with the 360 IQ, you can also get what's called our power platen, which is a little 6x6 inch platen that heats from underneath. It can be plugged in with a control board, and you can actually mount that power platen onto your autoclam or your Stahl's Max machine or any of the Air Fusion models. Unfortunately, it can't mount onto a Fusion because of the drawer. It's a safety risk, but that power platen will allow you to do it on like a left chest logo on a polo, whatever that may be. So we shared the link to some of those pads. I want to talk about some other applications for this and the cost. So based on this job, we have the hats from Nike, and Tim was nice enough to give me the MSRP on that with a logo from Nike was $33.18. Okay, you can assume that logo is probably embroidered. He did some market research where another competitor was offering a similar hat, the same hat actually, embroidered for $28 online. So one of the larger stores online, a little bit less than the MSRP. Okay. When you look at this job at 50 logos for FlexStyle, and he's going to use these logos across different things, the FlexStyle logo was costing $3.85, had about $12 in the blank hat. So really $15.85 plus labor and overhead. So let's add another $1 for our labor and overhead on this particular job. So $16.85, let's call it $17 at a $25 selling price, which is what he sold this job for. You're making $8 in profit a hat. If you can sell it at the $28 in your market, it would be $10 in profit per hat. Again, 14 hats, I'd say I could do that in about 15 minutes, but let's even say 30 minutes. You can start to do the math on how much money you can make. So for easy math, I'm going to do $10 a hat, 14 hats. That's $140 in profit back to my business in 30 minutes. All right. So again, as I always say, the deal isn't can your heat press make enough money for you to where you can get return on it. The equation we just did said I'm returning about $360 an hour to my heat press when it's running, right? So I can pay this machine off in 4 jobs that run for 4 hours. So I can pay the machine off in a half a day. And that's nuts to me. It's all, can you sell? Can you line up enough business for the heat press? Can you take a product like this, which is a higher value product, which yields higher profitability per piece? And do you have a customer? Can you find the market? Can you sell at that price and not discount to a level? So it's really, I'd say a successful business, the number one thing is 1, knowing who your customer is, and then 2, having the right sales and marketing strategy to connect products that deliver unique value to that customer. Obviously, Tim has found a nice opportunity here where he's been able to do that and make that type of profit. You're not going to get that type of profit on every job. But the point is you can pay off a machine like this very quickly, and certainly a clamshell style heat press like this very quickly. There's a lot of profit available if you can sell the jobs. Okay, so let's talk a little bit, now that I get off my soapbox for a minute, let's talk a little bit about the pressure sensitive version of this product. So again, you can buy this product with a pressure sensitive version. It's called FlexStyle. There's a few different styles, and basically it has a 3M adhesive on it. It has a sticky backing on the back of it. So if you don't get the heat applied, get the pressure sensitive. Now I can take something like a blank water bottle or a Yeti or a tumbler of some sort, right? I can take that and I can apply a logo to it. So let's see if I can get you down for a look at this. There we go. I'm just going to position it on my table somewhere I can work with it. I'll use my flexible application pad, which we're going to use for another application here in a second. I'll educate you on what that is and what it does. But for now, it's going to make a nice surface so my water bottle doesn't roll all over the table. And then I'll just be able to take my design. I'm going to use the brand logo on this piece, which is says High Sierra. I'm going to use this as a centering mark. And I'm going to go ahead, and all you have to do is make contact with it. So you're going to go like this. You're going to just press it with thumb pressure on, right? The weirdest part about this for me is how a perfect circle starts to look like an oval when you put it around a sphere or this type of surface. Make sure you have good contact, and then I'm just going to peel the backing off, right? I'm going to grab the corner, remove the backing, and that's on there, okay? So there it is, applied just like that, highly durable. When we talk about the market for custom gifting, the ability to do things like this, and this was designed for a notebook, not necessarily a travel mug. I'd probably make it a little smaller and save some cost, but to be able to custom gift this item and create that on the fly, 50 pieces for a sales meeting, a promotional product for new employees when they get hired onto a company. You got to use your brain and think about all the opportunities for custom gifting. Actually, one of our folks that handle social media marketing for our company said the search trends that we're seeing out there for custom gifting for Christmas gifts are happening now in July. People are locked up. They're wanting to do different things. So we're getting those types of inquiries now where people are looking for opportunities. So capitalize on that. Start merchandising products for custom gifting earlier this year than last year. I have a couple questions. So Jerry says, do you need to clean the metal prior to adhering the FlexStyle? I don't think so. I mean, if you had an issue with it where it had a lot of oils on it or something on it, then perhaps you can wipe it off. But I've never had any issues with just applying the logo to it as long as it's a blank wholesale good and a clean surface, not been in use. Also, these are dishwasher safe, so top rack dishwasher safe. I actually have one of our sales reps that put a logo like this on his bumper of his car. We don't recommend it for that, but it's still on there, and it's been on there for about 18 months without any fading. So the opportunities for this are truly amazing. I grabbed a custom notebook that I got from one of those Shirt Lab events, and you can kind of see that logo. So think about notebooks for sales meetings. There's a lot of things you can apply a sticker to. Think of texture and dimension. Why would somebody want to buy this? You should be thinking of that from a customer's point of view. It's because it's memorable. I'm telling you, when somebody gets this product onto a notebook or a water bottle, whatever it is, they can't keep their hands off of it. And so what that means is memorability for the brand. So it's going to be memorable. If somebody is sponsoring an event, this is a perfect product to have the sponsor logo, and they're going to get a better result per impression. People are going to remember that logo because they're going to touch it, they're going to feel it, they're going to have an experience with it that's different than just a flat logo on a product. So sell it as such, command a higher value. All right. So that's FlexStyle. I wanted to make sure you understood that product. We are getting ready to launch a promotion on FlexStyle that should be live tomorrow. So this is one of the few times I'm going to tell you don't buy today. Wait tomorrow if you want to set up a new logo over on stalls.com. We're going to do a 50% discount on the setup fee. So instead of paying the $52 for the setup fee, you're going to pay $26 for it. And so get your logo set up over the next couple months for those customers that you're going to want to do. You can order the logos whenever after it's approved. All right. And I do see this, Greg, as an alternative to laser engraving. I think for high-end custom gifting, it's a perfect alternative for laser engraving. And even on this item, you can see we incorporated both only because I had it laser engraved and I put my own logo on, but you could certainly offer one or the other in this particular case. All right, let me look back for questions to make sure I don't lose anybody before we move on. All right, so timeline for publishing settings for different types of vinyl. I assume that means on the Hotronix 360 IQ. So publishing on the website, as soon as our team gets it up there, as far as giving you information, that's going to be right now. And so the cool thing is it's going to be really easy to remember once we give you the list of compatible products. So on the 360 IQ, I'm going to show you some testing that we recently did. These aren't pretty designs. These are tests, so you get a view on how we did it, right? And so we have our pattern material. So glitter material is compatible. This is our glitter pattern material that was pressed on this machine. We have our CAD cut metallic material that was pressed on this machine. We have fashion film electric. So our whole fashion film line can be pressed on this machine with lower heat. We have hologram material. We have our standard glitter flake, as well as fashion film that can be pressed on this. We tried some side placements too. And then on this hat, we combined Ultra Weed and thermofilm. So those two products can be pressed on this. And then also Premium Plus High Tack, although I will say I felt like the Ultra Weed is a better, more consistent experience on the hats as well as fashion film. Basically, if it can be a true hot peel, it's going to be the easiest experience on the hat press. But even some of those cold peel products will work as well. And so the settings are this, and we're going to press one together. We're actually going to do this design, and I'm going to show you a technique for not only getting it on there, but getting it to sink into that seam. You see how that heat transfer vinyl is sunk into the seam, and we have the texture to it without scorching of the hat with Ultra Weed. I'm going to show you that here in a second. So 280 degrees on top, 320 degrees on bottom. You're going to use the thin pad on it, and you're going to go for 45 seconds on this one, and you're still not going to scorch hats. That's the beauty of it. And so let's go ahead and do that. Also, that's the same setting, by the way, for the UltraColor Soft. And so there's one of those. And here's another one of those that show you how large designs you can do. UltraColor Soft is a great product for hats because it's a digital screen print transfer, nice clean edges and logos. So all possible. So let's go ahead and press one together. I'm going to do this flex fit. I wanted to do a low profile cap to show you some loading technique on it. Again, we're going to try to flip out the sweatband. Always do your best to get that sweatband out of the way because that's really where you get the pressure issues and you don't get good adhesion. Position that into place, lock down the hold down device. I'm going to have to stand up to make sure it's flush, pull it down, make sure I have good contact here. Just takes a couple extra seconds. I'm going to take my Ultra Weed design, which is just a text design here. I'm going to position that into place. Going to center it right off of the T, which is right down the center of the seam. I will say with heat transfer vinyl, thermal tape is helpful because it kind of wants to slide. It doesn't like hold to the hat that well on these curved surfaces. So thermal tape, we can tape down both sides to the hat, is going to be helpful. I have some people though actually tape it off of the press and then move it onto the press tape. So that's something you can do while the heat press is locked down for 45 seconds. I'm going to take the thin pad and be careful to place it straight on there. Take my control, my touch screen. I have my stylus here. I'm going to take it up to 45 seconds. Accept the setting. And let's go ahead and lock this down. With a firm pressure, I'm at anywhere in a 7 to 9. It has a digital pressure readout. I'm at a 9 right now. Is going to be possible. So again, this is Ultra Weed. What I'm going to show you here is a two-step application. So you can certainly press it in one step, and that'll be fine. But a trick actually I learned in our Facebook group from, I believe, Todd Tomlinson, was being able to cover that after it's been pressed with a flexible application pad, which is another pad sold at Stalls, and just hit it for another 5 or 10 seconds. And it really makes it look more like screen printing. It texturizes the surface. So if you press your Ultra Weed or fashion film on t-shirts, you can use the same trick on t-shirts to make it blend in more. It won't hurt the adhesives at all. It's basically just going to help. But you can see the Ultra Weed's such a hot peel. The pad actually peeled my cover sheet off with it. So it's very easy to hot peel. That's how much that peels off like butter. So I could be done. I'm going to remove it just to show you that I could be done. But hopefully you can see the difference here. It's kind of on that seam, but I wouldn't say into that seam as much contact as I would like it. So it's on there. It's good texture. It's going to be durable. But on your 6-panel caps, what I would do is I definitely wouldn't remove the hat from the press. I'd just leave it there to save some time. And then you can just take the flexible application pad for a second step. And this is optional, so it won't be in the instructions. This is just a tip for you to make your hats look better. Just cover that and go ahead and give it an extra 5 to 10 seconds. You're not going to have any issues with scorching the hat. So let's give it 8 seconds. Now, when I remove that hat, I have something that's seated down into that seam completely, where I get really good contact, really good texture, if you can see that through the camera. So these are some of the tips. It's possible. There's no scorching. There's no creasing. That's the beauty of this machine. So it's new technology. So believe it or not, I've used the press a lot, but I am learning along with you on some of these applications. A good example of that is one of our folks, Craig, I'm not sure if Craig's watching today, was having some issues with a low-profile Richardson hat. I think the style was 112, if I remember it correctly. He posted on Facebook and he messaged, I'm having issues. So we ordered them same day from SNS Activewear. We got those in. I wanted to see it for myself because I hadn't pressed that hat before. And we tried it. We were able to get it to work. We FaceTime so I could show him. He's going to try it, see if he can get to work on his machine or if there's an issue. But I feel confident saying right now, every hat style that I've met that's not a youth or a baby or toddler cap can be completed on this machine accurately. Not only can you press FlexStyle, but you can press heat transfer vinyl. You can press UltraColor soft. We'll have all the settings published here. And you can press 3D embroidery, which is another product available on stalls.com. And here's a sneak peek. We have a product coming out that's actually an embroidered patch combined with sublimation. And so you get the benefit of full color with embroidery. So that'll be a couple months. So that's a really sneak peek for you for staying tuned this long and watching our Facebook Live with us. So with that in mind, I'm going to look to see if there are questions. So price guide doesn't have anything listed for FlexStyle. So let me see. I don't have my second monitor today, but let me go over to the Stalls website real quick and see if I can pull that up for you on where to find that. Going to have to add my screen. Sorry, just give me 1 second. So I'm going to share. Here we go. All right, so hopefully, let me double check. Yes, you should be seeing my stalls.com screen. When you want to go to find FlexStyle in these products I'm talking about, you're going to go to custom logos. You're going to go to heat apply under custom logos or just on stalls.com. And here you will see a whole section for emblems and patches. You'll be able to find 3D embroidered patches, FlexStyle and leather patches, which are live right now. Hopefully in about a month, we'll have our standard embroidered patches up, and then shortly after those sublimated embroidered patches. But let's just click on FlexStyle for now. And you can upload art right now and order now, or you can download the pricing guide. So if you download the pricing guide, it'll open within the window here, but also download to your computer, and you can see how pricing works. So what I always say is you're going to find yourself 90% of the time in this 2 to 2.5 price point for headwear or for any logo, frankly. I'd aim to be within this. How you calculate the price is you take the width times the, let me state that again, the width plus the height. So if you have, let's say, a 2 1/4 by a 2-inch logo, you would add those together and you would get 4 1/4, right? 2 plus 2 1/4 is 4.25. Then you divide that by 2. Okay, 4.25 divided by 2 is 2.125. That's going to fall right in between this 2.1 to 2.5 on the price grid. I go down and you can see, as I mentioned earlier, if you get to 50 pieces, it'll save you quite a bit. That's going to cost you $3.85 per logo. All right, if you can get up to 100 pieces, you're going to save from that. If you can make your design smaller, you're going to save. And so that's the price grid. And then also make sure you calculate that there is a $52 art setup fee. As I mentioned, we're going to run the special starting tomorrow for the month of July. And I believe August as well, where you'll save 50% off of this art setup. You only pay $26. You can also order samples if you want. If you want to get 5 pieces in as a sample before your whole job gets run, you can pay $25 or it'll be $12.50 starting tomorrow to get 5 samples to be able to show your client the logo. So that's where you get to all of that stuff. And let me see if I can get back to my original screen. There we are. on FlexStyle, just over at stalls.com. So hopefully you're enjoying this and learning that. So I get some more questions coming in. All right, so it looks like some confusion on setting the pressure may be an issue. So let me try to coach through this. So when setting the pressure on the machine we're using, so congratulations on being one of the first with the machine. We are shipping them every day. You set it at a 5, but when locking it down, the magnet locks in and the screen reads a pressure of 1 to 2. Is this normal? No, that is not normal. So when you're setting your pressure, what I always recommend you do is you load the hat. You're not going to be able to load the emblem, of course, or it would heat apply. So you load the hat, put the cover pad on, and then lock the machine into place. There is a digital pressure readout on the front of the machine. To increase the pressure, there's a knob up here that you turn clockwise to increase it or counterclockwise to decrease it. So really what should happen is you should be setting the pressure when you lock the machine. It is a manual adjustment. You can't just touch the setting in the screen and change the pressure, right? It's all manual adjustment, and it'll vary based on the thickness that you have loaded on that pressing surface. So make sure you load the hat you're going to be pressing, the pad you're going to be pressing with, whether it's the thin one for most of the stuff or the medium pad, which is quite a bit thicker, but is used for the 3D embroidered emblems. And then make your pressure adjustments using the top knob, keep locking it down until you see the pressure readout actually come up at the setting that it calls for. Again, 789 seems to apply most stuff. So hopefully that helps you, Kelly. If not, feel free to message me and I'll call you and we'll get through it. All right. Yeah. And so Flex asked the question, how will FlexStyle look with a black and white logo? Will it pop as well? Yeah, absolutely will pop. I have people that order FlexStyle in just a single color logo. I had a customer that did one in just metallic silver or metallic gold or rose gold. And it looks phenomenal. So when you're ordering FlexStyle, you can get the metallic finish, which I've shown, or you can get just a flat finish as well. So this owl was done in a flat finish. So if you want something that's more of a matte look, there's tons of options and you can explore those when you upload your art. But I haven't seen many designs that FlexStyle hasn't looked awesome in. You can do free floating text as well. It doesn't always have to be one big piece. All right, so Sixto asked, what about goof proof? And so we are still working on plastisol transfers for this hat press. I'll give you my opinion. This isn't the company's stance right now, but my opinion is if you want to press stuff like goof proof that's up at 365 degrees, I'd probably just recommend the traditional cat press. When you start to add, you buy this press to get rid of the scorch marks, okay, in the creasing. That's what, or to apply dimensional logos. That's why people really invest in this press. Yes, it would be nice to have one hat press be able to do any type of transfer, but this pad, pressing at 365, you're really going to have to go really hot on the temperature to get it to work with this pad. And I think at that point, you're going to scorch or crease your hat anyways. So why go through the pain of having a longer dwell time? Just use your normal standard max cat press or Hotronix cat press to do your high temp stuff like plastisol transfers. That would be my opinion. All right, some more questions. All right, lots of link sharing. Yeah, so Mark, no problem. Even for cotton hats, not sure what that was in reference to, but any of these products will work on your cotton twill hats. Those are actually easier because they're not structured, so you can use these same settings I'm talking about for cotton hats, no problem. And a question about, does flock work? Yes, we have the Stalls Flock 2 product that does work. Actually, I have a sample out there that was tested, but I was able to peel the bottom because it got too close to the bottom band. So I didn't bring that one live on air, but I feel the flock definitely is recommended. At Stalls, we carry the CAD Cut Flock 2 as the product that would work with those settings. It is a cold peel, however. All right. I think I'm caught up on questions, at least that were coming in. Yeah, definitely working on the paying myself part. Come on, man, give yourself a raise. Let's pay yourself, right? We need all that. Yeah, and Patrice is right. People often forget about labor and overhead. These are both critical because, as I always say, if your rent is free, we're moving in. If you work for free, we're hiring. So that's how I help people remember that. All right, and then the size logo on the hat that we did, I forget, Tim had mentioned that to me, the exact size logo, but I know it fit in that I think it's 2.25 tall. Not sure the width on that. I'm going to say it's less than, it's probably about 2.5. It's probably 2.25 by 2.25 would be my best guess without having a ruler nearby for that particular hat. Tim, if you're on, you can feel free to chime in with that and I'll share it. All right. And then again, is reflective compatible? Yep, I have no concerns with reflective. It is a hot peel. The 3M or the reflective 2, you're not going to have an issue with this press at those settings. Skip, good to see you today. Skip is the hat wizard. There are a few of us in this world that can master hats without the 360 IQ. Skip is one of those. So if you can pick up Skip's tricks and be as good as his techniques, you can probably do a lot of this stuff. I'm still not sure if you can do dimensional logos. So that would be the one thing that I still think you may need the 360 IQ for, but Skip has proven me wrong before. So maybe we'll send them some samples and try them out and see what we can come up with. All right. And Russ asked Josh, will the FlexStyle work with a regular hat press? And so that kind of goes to just the comment I just mentioned. And the answer is yes, it will work. But if you look at FlexStyle on our website in the application settings, it requires a lot more heat when you're just coming through top heat only. And so the likelihood that you're going to be able to do something like a performance black polyester cap that's structured with the amount of time and heat that's required for FlexStyle with top heat only, you're probably going to scorch or crease this for sure. You are going to scorch and crease this for sure. Now, if you're going on to a cotton tool cap that's unstructured, then that's lighter colored like a beige or a white, then you're not going to have an issue because it's not going to scorch, it's not going to crease, it's not going to show the mark. So there are some smart ways you can sell to be able to use dimensional logos on your existing hat press. That's by using lighter colors in unstructured caps that are canvas, cotton, twill type fabrics. You get into polyester, darker fabrics, you're going to hit some real limitations for that. All right. I think Tim did share it. It was 3 inches wide by 2 inches tall. So it fit right in the 2.5 inch part of the price grid. So you definitely want to keep it there. So thanks, Tim. All right. And I have another question coming in. This looks like somebody that, what are the minimums you would suggest to stay compatible? We start embroidering at 24 minimum for bulk orders and range from 10 to 15, depending on the quality of the hat. On FlexStyle, I'm actually going to position this as a higher end to embroidery. So if I'm doing good, better, best, I would position heat transfer vinyl or digital transfers as good, embroidery is better, and I would offer this as a premium as best. Again, you can do 25 pieces and probably still make enough margin to feel really good about 25 pieces, even with the higher cost. I think it was like $6.50 a logo at that 25 pieces. But again, you're probably going to make $5 in profit for every hat that you press, even at 25 pieces. So I would definitely say 24, 25 would be good. And then Larry says it appears the edge is lifting somewhat when you peel the covering off. So I'm not sure what that product is referenced to, but I can definitely say that this is dimensional. So you're going to have a raised edge. This is not going to lift at all. It's adhered to the hat. It's durable. We've went through these settings. Trust me, I've peeled plenty of logos off of hats in the evaluation process. And if you follow these settings, you're going to be good. There could be a chance you're going to meet a hat that's a little bit thicker in structure that takes more time for the heat to get underneath. But again, we pressed the FlexStyle at 30 seconds. We pressed heat transfer vinyl at 45 seconds without scorching this performance hat. So if you're nervous about that or you are getting a little bit of lifting, just increase your time. Run FlexStyle for 45 seconds on that particular hat if you're having an issue. And you really, I don't think you'll have issues at all with durability. All right. So I think we are good on questions. There's 2 more I'm going to take before we're going to wrap it up for today. April asks, can you use the wet method for FlexStyle for hard goods? I don't know. It's a good question. We'll try it. So I understand what you're saying, like you would do for a typical pressure-sensitive vinyl application to give a little bit more repositioning. I haven't tried it with the wet method for application. We'll give that a shot and we'll report back to you. And then last but not least, can you review again the different style of printing for caps? I hear FlexStyle a lot. Please review the others specifically for trucker caps because they're popular in Hawaii. the mesh back high crown trucker cap. So for hats, you can, on this machine, you can use heat transfer vinyl. You can use UltraColor soft. Grab some samples so we can show as we're going through this. So heat transfer vinyl going to be best for 1-2 color designs applied to hats. I recommend our Ultra Weed as the headline product for that, but there's certainly other compatible ones. If you start to get 3 or more colors in the logo, if you have at least 20 pieces, I'm going to move you to UltraColor soft as the preferred option. That's from Transfer Express. You're seeing lots of colors in the logo, stuff we'd never want to layer with vinyl. If we want to step up our finish, yes, we could go to a flock or reflective heat transfer vinyl. Those will work just fine. But if we talk about a different texture, that's when we're moving to the FlexStyle, which we're calling as well liquid embroidery. A lot of people market it that way. You can also get 3D embroidered patches. You can get standard embroidered patches. I didn't apply this one, but you can see looks like embroidery. It's just heat applied on. Most people aren't going to be able to tell the difference because it's on there. And when you inspect the inside of even a retail hat, you don't see the embroidered threads on structured caps because the panel's embroidered before the hat's assembled. So you're not going to see a visible difference between heat applied embroidered patch or 3D embroidery versus traditional embroidery. So it's a way to make it easier, save some time for yourself. Do it on site at events, on demand, print to order for e-commerce. Don't pre-sew everything. Once you get through that, then leather patches, which I don't have an example of handy, that would be another potential style. And then, of course, you have your sublimated patches that are possible for full color logos combined with embroidery that we'll be coming out with, and then traditional embroidery. I think those are the main styles that are out there for decorating headwear. The beauty of this machine, we call it the 360 IQ, although this particular hat only has 1 print location. It has the Nike brand mark on the side. You have enough space on this hat press to be able to turn that hat 360 degrees, let the bill hang completely below, still have plenty of clearance even for your hand here to be able to hit all print locations on a hat for additional branding opportunities. Actually, one of our sales managers from Florida, not venturing into this yet, but he was so excited. He wore a straw hat with a big rim, a straw hat to our sales meeting last Tuesday. With a logo applied to it to show that you can do it. So there's all types of things you can do if you want to experiment with this machine. So again, 360 IQ, there's a waiting list. We're on a 3-month lead time. Even if you're not ready to invest in this press at that $14.95 price point, there are plenty of other opportunities for what we talked about today, including decorating hard goods with the pressure sensitive version of FlexStyle. You can do that right away with just your hands and the logos and the blank good. Don't even need a heat press. So hopefully we gave you some ideas to be able to grow your revenue right now. Yeah, and you can certainly use your face mask, press face masks on your hat press as well. So lots of opportunities. Thanks for watching this live broadcast with me. I'll stay tuned in for questions if you have additional ones that come in. And I'll be broadcasting live to you again at 11 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. In the meantime, I still need to press the rest of Tim's hats for him and get them back out the door. So those will be on the way, Tim. Have a great week. Thanks for watching, everybody.